Hey, what's going on? Trey Lewellen here with Kommerce Kings. I have the famous Dana Derricks. Dana Derricks is in town helping me with some stuff. It's amazing, but he wrote this amazing cool book. It's called The Dream 100, which is actually, it's called The Dream 100 book. Bam, right there. Dana, how much do you sell that book for?
This book is on sale for one easy payment of $19.97.
And that is not a period between the 19 and the 97.
It's a comma.
So it's a comma between the 1 and the 9. It's $2,000. So the highest price book I've ever paid is Breakthrough Advertising for $300. And so I want to talk about that, like how you're, and you've actually sold this book.
Yeah, I actually sold, I shouldn't admit this, but I sold my first copy before I wrote one page of it.
Bam, for $2,000.
Yes.
And how many?
And it was actually $2,400 because he took an upsell.
And you took an upsell. Yeah. That's amazing. So you're selling these quite. I mean, there's actually quite a few sales going on right now.
Yes. Yeah, that book just launched. I got another one that I have sold quite a few copies of at a similar price. But yeah, that one's just off the press.
Can you see why this episode is going to be amazing, guys? Because here's the deal: is wouldn't you like to know the behind the scenes of how Dana is selling this? Selling a book that's, I mean, it's not like a lot of pages. It's actually, how many pages you got here? 229.
And it's like size 18 font, double space.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. I mean, 229, that's almost $1 per page you sold this for. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, if you're writing a page and making $1, I would write a lot of pages.
No, it's like 10, isn't it like $10 a page?
2,000 divided by 200 is, yes, actually, that's $10. It's even better than what I thought. I would definitely even better write $10 per page. Now that my math. We've been doing math so much today. It's late in the day.
You don't get enough sleep, man.
No, I don't. I need more, but it's okay. So I want to talk about on Kommerce Kings a couple of things, like how how Dana's structuring his business around this book, and basically because you do a couple other things too. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then I want to talk about some staircases and dive real into this episode of Kommerce Kings. So, go ahead, man. Tell us what's going on with this Dream 100 book.
Okay. So, I'll just start with a quick backstory. So, when I was in a previous lifetime, I was like a freelance copywriter doing projects for clients, and I started getting burnt out. I jacked my prices up really high, and I was still trapped in like the trading time for dollars thing. Mm-hmm. So, it was like, couldn't even take a day off. It was like just crazy. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is just not sustainable. I gotta change. I was getting burnt out. So I decided to do something that I thought would be scalable. Like, I'm gonna make this scalable. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll write a book. I'll write a book because basically I'll just take what I was doing for clients and bundle that into a package, and instead of catching the fish for them, I'll teach them how to fish. Mm-hmm. And then I started looking at what it'd be like to write a book and what I should expect. And I came to the realization that 10% of all 10% of all books ever make 1 penny for their author. So what that means is 90% of every book makes 0 money for their author. In fact, most of them lose money. So I thought to myself, at those odds, dude, I might as well go to the casino. I got 4 times better odds, whole lot less work to make money than write a book. But then I started diagnosing the problem. I looked through Amazon and all that stuff at different books, and I realized in about 2 minutes why books don't make money. It's because they're priced at $20, right? Like, they're not priced according to value. It's crazy. So if you can think about in your personal collection, you probably got a handful of books that have made you thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. And then you have books that you forgot about that you got a chapter in, you threw away because they're just garbage, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Both books were priced at $20, right?
They were.
Makes no sense.
They were. It does not. And you're the first one to enlighten me on that. I thought it was absolutely like a earth-shattering discovery is really what it was. It's like, holy smokes, like, he's totally right. Like, they don't hold the value, right? They're holding a bigger value than the price that they're being held to.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't implement at that as well because, there's not enough skin in the game to take what I've even read or try to implement. Like, a lot of people, they'll get a book for $20, but then it sits on the shelf.
Exactly.
And
that's the biggest problem.
If you're going to pay, like, for instance, $300 or even $2,000 or even more for a book, you better be damn well that I'm going to read that book.
Exactly.
And get what out of it and then start implementing it. So I think the idea is fantastic. So then I want to use this chalkboard.
Absolutely.
So can you show me kind of like a business model that you're doing to sell a book like this? Because I mean that's pretty courageous.
It's literally unbelievable. Like, I get it all the time. People are like, "There's no freaking way."
Sale?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, yeah, I was. But so it's funny because when I launched the first book that I'll show you in a second, like showing them how to do what I was actually doing for them, I made more money in that week than I did the entire year previous selling the book, which is just crazy. But I know people, a lot of you guys probably watching this or listening, like probably don't really believe it, because it's hard to believe somebody can sell a book for $2,000 a copy when everybody else's books are $20. But I'll literally show you how it's done. So for those that are familiar with the whole concept of I already went through one thing of chalk, huh?
Goes quick, and I charge by the 1,000 for those chalks.
It's these farmer grips, man. Come on. So basically, this is like a value ladder, right? So a lot of you are probably familiar with that.
What's a value ladder?
Okay, so for those that aren't familiar, a value ladder is essentially when you have someone come into your world as a customer and buy something from you, you should offer them another thing after they bought. Because to sell an identical object, let's say we were going to sell this chalk, if I were to sell this to you as a stranger, it would cost me 6 times as much to try to make that sale, to acquire you as a customer, as it would to sell to the next guy who already bought something else from me. So that's the whole idea behind this. It's a whole lot easier and cheaper to get somebody to buy again than it is to find a new person and recycle them. So, all right, so basically what happens is you get people into your world for free. You can do a ton of different things. This is when you see, like, for those that are wondering to themselves, why and how are people putting out free content, like free YouTube how-to videos, free this, free podcast, free that? Literally, it's always because it's them trying to get you into their world so they can sell to you. So education, I say this, education is actually selling in disguise. So if you're being educated, that's cool, but guess what? You're going to get sold at some point. So you get people in for free, and then I don't try to go 0 to, I'll just put 400 here. So that's 4. Okay. I don't try to go 0 to 1,000 or 0 to $2,000 for that book, because that's a tough sale. Like, I'd have to sit down with you and really try and get you convinced that that book right there, that hunk of paper, is worth $2,000, right? So I go from 0 to 400 usually. Okay. That's usually what I do.
So your starting price is like $400?
Yeah, that's my cheapest book.
Okay. So that's a book.
Yep, this is a book. So this is the very first book I ever wrote. So I've got 4. I'm literally, you guys, I'm a goat farmer from Wisconsin, like I shit you not. And I've written 4 books. I don't look like an author. I look like I can't even read, but I've got 4 books under my belt. I've made more money probably off books than 99% of people. So anyway, so $400 is so this is what I was doing. I was charging like $10K for a service, and then I bundled that service into a book and showed them how, right? So teaching them how to fish, right? So I charged $400 for that book. And I kid you not, that book is this thin. It's not even hardcover. It's like 97 pages. But it's to the point, and it shows them something really, really valuable, right? So to date, I've sold about 980 copies in 47 countries of that book at $400 a copy. So that was cool. And how'd
you do that?
So the majority of it was from webinars.
Okay.
So I'll give them a... So
it wasn't a sales page. It was a webinar to show, like, because you ought to authenticate, right? Because basically when free, like, were you doing a free education webinar?
Free webinar, exactly.
Okay, and then the webinar was selling the $400 book?
Yep.
$400 book? That's cool.
So the webinar was here, my free content, right? Okay. Invite everybody and your brother, and they get... The key is on the webinar, like, it was valuable, whether they bought it or not. Because my theory is, if I can give you value on the free webinar, then even if you're not ready to buy today, like, you go implement that, you get an ROI, you're like, okay, cool. I implemented his free stuff and got an ROI. Now what if I buy the thing, and what kind of ROI I get? Yeah. So that's what we do there. And then following drinking my own Kool-Aid, remember, it's 6 times cheaper to sell something to an existing customer as it is to try to acquire a new one. So I'm like, all right, I got to sell these people something else. I've got 900 plus people that need something else. Yeah. So I launched the next book, which essentially just took this to a new level, went deeper on it, and then it introduced, like a new thing. So this one, I've sold about 120 copies so far in the last 8 months at $1,000 a copy.
Nice.
And now this one.
To these 980.
Yes, that's the key too. So I never try to go from 0 to 1,000 because that's like trying to marry the gal on the first date.
So you would never show that $1,000 webinar to somebody who's coming in for free.
So exactly, these are the only people on earth that know this exists.
So you're at 10%.
Yeah, roughly. Actually. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So yep. So I'd like to get that a little bit higher too, but we've been all over the place. But so the biggest message for anybody is trying to sell this or that book at that price outright is like trying to get married in the first week. Like, don't do that. Go on some dates first. Yeah. Like you ask 100 gals, maybe one will say yes. Cool. I don't know if you want to marry her. So, and it's the same thing here. We do a webinar for that again. So it's a different.
So you're
one.
like, hey guys, I got this really cool thing you need to be able to jump on a webinar with, and then they're already used to buying from you, and they're already used to buying a book from you, and they've already had the first book. And so buying a second one, they've already seen the value. Of course, I need this next book.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So, and the cool thing too is this new webinar is a private one just for them.
Yeah.
Like, it literally is. Nobody else even knows it exists.
Right.
So the people, like, not only are they like excited about it, they want to go to it. Right. It's not like, oh God, another webinar. It's like, holy crap, what else you got? Like, so then we go up from there. I have another book that's at $2,500 a copy. So this is pretty much the flow. And then we have a really, really high ticket item, private mastermind live event that is $25,000 at the top.
How many days is the live event?
3-day live event. It's at my goat farm. It's called the Goat Farm Mastermind. It's awesome. Yeah.
It's awesome.
And
Do you bring the goats?
Oh yeah, they're there. Yeah. No, we go to the goats. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's cool. That's amazing.
But again, the key is, like, I would never try to sell someone from free to this. Like, it doesn't happen. So like when I was at my mastermind, I'm like, all right, everybody, how many of you have bought? And then I name the name of that book. All the hands go up. I'm like, okay, cool. How many of you bought and read this book? All the hands go up. Like, literally, the only way I could get them here, I mean, without like crazy selling and all that stuff, is to get them to go through.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So they're at the live event. So basically, everybody who's been at the live event has bought those 2 books.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And have you ever gone from the 1,000 to 25, or do you go 1,000 to, like, have you ever skipped a step anywhere in there?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they're ready to go at this point.
Okay.
Yep. And actually, in fact, when I hosted my first event, this wasn't even built yet. So they were going right from 1,000 to 25.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but the key is to get them here, because then they become kind of ravenous. And I was actually telling you the other day when we were building some of your stuff how, like, there are people that never say no. Like, they literally will not say no to anything you ever offer them, ever. So insert $25,000 offer. I don't care what it is, but it's just math. Like, people get crazy about it. It's not. It's math. There's a percentage of people that will say yes to that.
Yeah. Have you read the book 80-20 by Perry Marshall?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is following his principles. Or actually, not his principle. He's obviously doing, a different study. So I'm going to go off mic. So Jared, catch my mic. So basically, what he talks about is the scale of which, there goes another $1,000, is right here, to where your people will buy like this. Shoop, like this. Oops, I actually went off the line. So it's actually like this. It actually comes right next to it, right alignment. So we want to put that color in there. There's actually space right here coming down this line. So what he talks about is the people right in here. So then he starts layering these people out. Okay. And what's interesting, I look at it as like a stadium, like a baseball stadium. So let's cut a stadium in half. Okay. So then if we're looking at a stadium, you have the whole stadium that seats the 300s, right? These are the nosebleeds. These are the like the tickets you get for like $20, right? I'm totally cool going to the game for $20. That's these people right here, right? They're okay. These people in here are at their home. They're watching the bar. Like, there's a lot of people in there, but they're seeing the game from a different perspective. These people are actually okay paying $20 to be at the game. And then you have, the 200s, which get you a little closer. Then you have the 100s. And then what we have is called the green seats here in St. Louis. And so the green seats, now those are like $300. Those are a little more expensive. So that'd be like these people. The 100s and 200s are in here. And then what I think is most fascinating is when you start talking about who are these people right here. And who these people are the people who are spending like $10,000, $25,000, and up to, $100,000 to $1 million. And it's like, well, why is this person so different than this person? Because at the end of the day, guess what? They saw the same game. They saw the same exact game, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Because what you can do is I have the same stuff, right? But they're in a different piece of the game, right? These guys are okay watching my webinar. These are the $20 popcorn eaters. But these guys, they're the $1 million spenders, and they're okay saying yes. And so what I like about this is this guy. So who are these people? These are the people who are in the suites, right? They bought the suites to the stadium, right? They maybe have a company event. This might be like the 100,000 person. I know a great person for that is that's the guy who comes during the week and gets to sit with the players, right? And gets to sit with the coach and gets to do an interview on TV that he has for his business that makes him money. But he's okay paying that $100,000 because it's, authority figures that he's dealing with. And so I think with the 80-20 rule, you're doing the exact same thing here, even with your numbers, it's applying. And I think it's fantastic. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Does that make sense? I mean,
absolutely. That's
so
perfect.
I love
it.
the book.
I love the sports analogy.
Yeah. I don't know if that was him that gave that to me or not,
That's
but
good.
this is what's so cool, right? So people are willing to pay $2,000, and you're the first person to create that category. You're the first person to say, you know what, there are people out there willing to spend a little bit more than $20 on a book. Not only $20, but $2,000. And you've proven it over and over and over again. And I think that's huge.
And if you notice, so there's a couple more things to pull it off. Like if you notice on the book, show the back of it. Like, do you see a barcode, ISBN number?
No barcodes.
No. That is not on Amazon. So one of the biggest things, so I'm starting this movement that's kind of like pulling the power back to the authors, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, if books aren't making money for the author, like who is making money? Otherwise people wouldn't be publishing them, right? Well, the publishing industry, like the publishing company, like they're the ones making 90 to 96% of every dollar on a book. The author's left with nothing. No. And then you have Amazon who gets, big greedy Amazon gets their cut too. So the biggest tragedy to me is like books are freaking hard to write. And the biggest tragedy is to see an author's life work in the bargain bin on Amazon for 3 cents. That's ridiculous. So you'll never find my books on Amazon, never. Because there's no money on Amazon for your books. Unless your book is a business card, don't even put it onto Amazon. And one of the things that really bothers me about books, because I like hold them really near and dear. I know you're a reader, and I attribute most of my success to books, is like you can't tell the difference between a good and a bad book, right? You can read reviews and they can be manipulated and all that stuff, but like at the end of the day, like how do you tell the difference between a good and a bad book? Well, I'll tell you this. People that write bad books would not be able to survive selling them for $2,000 a pop, because they'd have to get someone through here to get them there, right? And there's no way somebody that bought the $400 book is going to buy anything else if it wasn't really good.
Sure.
Makes sense?
Yeah, totally
So
makes sense.
to me, because in the last 10 years in the publishing industry, the consumption of books has been stagnant. So people aren't reading more books. They're not reading less, but they're reading the same. The production of books has exploded. So it's so saturated you can't tell the difference. This, to me, is going to level the playing field and bring the power back to the authors and the creators of the works, because it's going to weed out the shitheads that are producing crap.
And there's so many people you can partner with that are out there saying, hey, do you want to sell a book, right? Like we help you sell books and things like that. The power play with those guys, it's a huge. I mean, it's a great PR play too, with what you're doing. So this is your entire. How many employees do you have?
We have 7 full-time in-house.
So how long did it take for you to hire 7 in-house people?
So I was a solopreneur for like 7 years, and then this past January we started going, all in on this. So probably about 8 months.
So when you say we, it's actually you.
Yeah.
And then you went January. You're like, now it's we because we have. And I love how you say in-house. Why do you say that?
Well, I just feel like providing jobs to somebody that you can see and feel their family and like the people that you're affecting. I feel like that's just so much more like so much more of what I'm called to do, as opposed to just like hiring people to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So it's more like building a team and a culture around what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
So I feel like having them in-house is like the only right way to do that.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty simple from what it seems like.
Yeah, it's super
webinar
simple.
To another webinar, to a book, to a launch, to. So what do these 7 in-house people do for you?
So we have, it's very, very pretty, actually really specific. So you have me, which I don't know what I do, honestly. I'm a farmer. And then I have my affiliate manager.
Okay. So you have affiliates pushing the webinar?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. A lot of affiliates for our stuff. And
how do you find affiliates?
Through
the book?
It's all in there.
Oh, there you go. Well, hey. All right.
Yeah. So Dream 100 approach is literally what we do. So we live that. So she rocks that. And then I have an operations manager who kind of takes care of all of the stuff I don't like doing.
Which is what?
Paperwork stuff. Also like managerial type day-to-day stuff. So he keeps the ship floating. Then we have a full-time sales guy in-house who's disguised as a customer service and coach.
Right.
Yeah. And then we have a research assistant who basically helps my affiliate manager with some of the legwork on the research. And then we have, let's see, 3 office admins because we handle a lot of the fulfillment of these books in-house.
Oh, nice.
So that's another thing is like when we ship out our books, like we don't just ship the book in a box like everybody else. Like we actually throw in like little cool like action figures and all this other stuff and personalized messages. So that's why I like to have our fulfillment in-house to do that.
So you do a lot of direct mail because that's what you're helping us with.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about that before we jump off.
For sure.
So tell me where like you've learned direct mail, how you became so well at it, and then how do you use it in your business?
Okay, so so first of all, from being a Dan Kennedy fan, Bill Glazer, believe it, Outrageous Advertising That Is Outrageously Successful was one of the first books I read, and just like from a creative standpoint, like to me, sending stuff in the mail is just so much more fun than sending out an email. Oh, it's super expensive.
So tell me about that.
So I got into direct mail because, to be honest, like I sucked at everything else.
Okay.
Like I just hated it, and I just like.
What was your first direct mail piece?
I think it was sending out. I was working as a freelance marketing person for this dentist, and we were doing direct mailers to his zip code, and it was a cartoon. That was like, it was so ghetto. It was a long time ago. 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, folded in half, sticker clamped shut, and it had a cartoon on the one side, a printed coffee stain on the other. It was so ghetto. It was a funny cartoon, I remember. But I don't know that worked, but it was a lot of fun.
But it felt good.
Oh, it felt great. He loved it, so that was all that mattered.
I mean, for the dentist, you don't need much to make money off of one client.
Exactly.
So for someone like us, or someone like watching, what would you suggest? Like, what type of direct mail can they start talking about? Like, how could they use this in their business to use direct mail? Yeah,
so one thing that really put me on the map was I also, I'm trying to get out of it, but I'm still have a hand in the pot of an e-commerce business. So I have a all-natural pet supplements company also.
Okay.
And so, like, a real practical example and something that I'm doing with you is, like, anybody that's shipping anything, like, physical product-wise right now, like, you have an amazing opportunity to leverage the power of direct mail and throwing in a sales letter.
It's free mail.
Exactly, because you're already shipping it out, right? So literally what we're going to do for you is we're throwing in a sales letter in the existing package that you already ship out. And boom, you're going to get leads and sales that way because it's just math, right? So that's one thing that I brought to kind of the Amazon world was for Amazon sellers is like, you guys, like, you should be throwing in inserts that sell other stuff inside of the box that you're already sending. Don't just send a receipt.
Yeah.
Like, you have a customer that's opening the package, that is expecting it. Like, an email delivery rate sucks sometimes. Or like whatever's hot, you name it. Like, it's going to be gone in a month or a year or 2 years. Direct mail's been around forever. It's going to stay around forever. Like, what are people opening every day? Their mailboxes, right? Especially, the trick is, especially like boxes, packages, lumpy mail, like irregular, not bills, not letters, envelopes. Those don't get opened. Those get sent to the gatekeepers. So immediate low-hanging fruit is for anybody watching or listening that has a physical product that they send out, throw some sort of sales letter, or something goofy, cool, that gets their attention that sells something else.
I love that. And higher ticket.
The higher the ticket, the more you can afford to screw up.
Oh, that's huge. So hopefully that's making sense to you guys. Because before we jump to behind the scenes with Kommerce Kings, I want to do a real quick math equation on the board to kind of show how that makes sense. Because with mail, it's expensive.
For sure.
And two, who knows if it's going to work. But I got to tell you, like with Facebook ads getting weaker, which I mean, and when I say that, I'm talking about more expensive. And not as well performing. That's what a lot of people are saying right now. It's like Facebook's becoming a harder place to advertise on. Yeah. And I'll be the first one to tell you, like when I go home, my mailbox is empty. Like it usually might have a newspaper in it, But I look at that, I take a picture of it all the time, and I'm like, this is a missed opportunity right now.
Just give me your address, and
Exactly,
it'll
right.
never be
Just
empty again.
Make a new opportunity.
I'll have you conditioned to just tent out by your mailbox. Dude.
I will. I probably would. So let's see this. So let's look at what would be a good. Okay, here we go. So how much do you pay for a lead on a webinar?
We pay. So since most of our traffic is affiliate, we don't really pay. But
okay. How much do you pay the affiliate?
So we give them 50%.
Okay.
So we pay. I guess to acquire a customer, we pay about $200.
Okay, we'll go back. So how your webinar converts at?
20-ish%.
20%, and then show rate, and then registration rate. So if you're paying, what would that come back to leads?
So show rate 20.
So 20% show.
Conversion rate on the registration page like 80.
20% show, and then so you're thinking. I'm trying to work this backwards. So basically
20% show, 20% conversion rate on the webinar.
There we go. Conversion. And so if you had one person divided by 20 divided by 20, that would give you your registration rate, and you have, what did you say, $200 in? That's what you're paying?
Yes, that's the commission.
That's the commission. So
yep.
Divided by 0.2 is 25, and then
he's such a numbers guy.
And then I think it's divided by 0.2 again. Possibly it could be 125 leads. So if that's the case, if I did that right, 125 over 200, right? So 200 divided by 125 is $1.60. So you're paying $1.60 per lead?
Yeah, that's
sound about right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It's either that, because, okay, if we had one buyer, I just want to make sure this, 1 divided by 0.2, so that means there's 5 people here. If we take 5 divided by 0.2, that's 25% show, and 25% of that 20, I believe we got to take it again, that's where I got the 125. 25 divided by 0.2 is 125. Does that sound right to you?
Okay. So
are you about $1.60 per lead? Does that feel right, or should it be way higher than that? Because if it's the case, then you're paying like $10 per lead.
I think it's higher than that, but I mean, for the argument of, let's just run with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll say $1.60 per lead.
Okay, cool.
So for every conversion, you're paying out $200.
Yep.
Right. I love the numbers because I love to see like how it works and flows.
I need people like you on my team.
It makes sense to me. Well, that's why you got Mr. Accountant over here who holds the ship up. So basically, all right. So $200. It's either that or it's either $10. So we're either here or here. So we can always take 2 examples. So either $1.60 per lead or $10. So
Perfect.
basically $200 is where we're at. Now I figured out what we're doing. So basically, you're at $1.60 per lead is what you're paying for this right here, for 60. But yet you're not making any money, right? So you're having to have. So you're selling this for $400. You're giving you 50%. So that's $200. That's where that $200 is coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're following along. Okay, so if we stopped here, we stopped right here, then in that case, you'd be making what, $200 per conversion, and then you would be making $1.60 or $10, depending on if I did the math right. I can't really know. You're making $1.60 per lead, right? Because you got your affiliates coming in.
Yep.
So you have to keep them happy in order to have them keep pushing, right?
Right.
You keep paying them out. Now, are you paying them out? Are you doing a cost per lead, or do you do webinar?
Revenue share.
What's that?
Share of the
revenue.
Yep.
So then you're doing webinars for that affiliate.
Correct.
General,
yes.
right?
One off. Yep.
That's
exactly.
sweet.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So at that point, you know what you can afford. So then, in your case, I guess what we're looking for is then how do we make more money? In your case, right? Mm-hmm. So. Oh, direct mail. That's what we're getting to.
Yeah,
I knew we were doing something here. So now, how do we afford direct mail? So we know we have 980 people who have come through this after all the affiliate sales that you've done. Okay? So in that case, we could take 980. I knew we were doing something here. 980 times 200, which would mean that's almost 200 grand. That's quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So 200 grand over 980 people. Okay? All right. So we have that, but now we're looking at, okay, how do we make this more for us by also spending direct mail? Because direct mail costs you how much to send? Like you're sending $8 boxes or something? Or
yes.
$10 boxes?
Yep.
So that's quite expensive, right?
It is.
So that's 10 grand. So that's $10,000 in direct mail, you're sending to 1,000 people, let's say, and what's a good conversion rate on direct mail?
So direct mail is like a piece. So this is what I love the most about direct mail. Like you can make it work by, cause like unlike so like Facebook ads or something where it's like you run the campaign and it either works or doesn't, and then you're kind of like SOL if it didn't work. Whereas with direct mail, like I will send them a little action figure with like a sales letter or something, and then that is an excuse for my sales guy to follow up with them via email.
Disguised
or
sales guy.
Exactly. Hey, did you get the freaking Mr. Miyagi I sent?
Right.
Like how much different is that than if they just cold dial or like, hey, we got this cool offer, right? So really to me, it's yes, it will convert sometimes, not as much as like if it on its own was used, but it's like the foot in the door to permit my sales guy to get access to them. So.
Okay, so you're paying $10 per. And so I love what you said though. Like it's not just direct mail, it's also outbound calls.
It's the combination.
It's the combination. And that's when it started making sense.
But that's where it all starts.
Right.
This is where it starts.
This is the key.
Exactly.
The castle. Because then what you do is you're following up with an outbound phone call. Right?
Yep, that's part of it.
Outbound phone call.
Emails. Yep.
Text messages. It's getting expensive with this trunk.
Man.
Emails, text messages, slide dials.
Yep.
All kinds of cool stuff.
Absolutely. Facebook messages, yeah. Whatever.
So what is all of this? So then, what does all this equate to on a percentage of conversion of compounding?
So my main focus is literally on overall conversion rate.
Yeah.
Because like this, if you stop here, your conversion rate's gonna suck, and you might not make your money. But if you come here, okay, then a percentage of these phone calls are gonna convert. So then it adds to the pot.
Right.
And then if you keep going here, the percentage of the emails are gonna convert, and so on. So the more you can get extensive with like your total follow-up, the more it's gonna make this number right.
All right, let's just throw up an ambiguous number.
Yes.
Let's just say 2.5%. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Because I think that's fair. Because normally with direct mail, you're at 1% to 2% if you're really damn good. 0.5% people are excited. Off outbound phone calls, 1 to 2%, depending on emails, same kind of things.
Right.
So let's just.
So there's no way you would get. We would never expect this from just direct mail.
No.
Or just outbound phone.
If someone said you're getting like 3% from just direct mail, yeah, they're doing something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the combination is how you achieve that.
Yeah.
And this is permission to make these more effective.
So realistically, out of that 1,000 people, was it 20 people that we're doing? Right, 1,000 times 0.425, 25 people.
Yep.
Yeah, so that'd be 25 sales. At you're going to be selling this, right? That's 2,500.
You can sell either. So it's the same cost. It's still the same $10 package going out to 1,000 people. So whether you're selling this or this, doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's the same cost.
Okay. So did we sell? In this case, we sold this.
And these sales actually are easier than these sales. But yes, in this example, we're going here.
Okay.
So it's 25K.
Thanks for correcting me.
That's all right.
So we did 25. So we did 25K with a $10,000 ad spend, right? So we're 15 in the front. And so that helps you again. Walk me through that 15K.
Okay, so that's profit, which is great. What's more exciting to me though is now I have 25 people who we can sell this and this to.
So that's where the real money is.
Absolutely. So there's money to be made along the way, right? And when you get up here, your salespeople are going to be more incentivized to sell that anyway.
And what do you pay for sales guys?
So I have it's tiered the opposite of everybody else. So usually it goes down as they sell more. So basically, I won't bore you with the numbers, but it's like every week, if they hit this much, they get this percentage. If they hit that, they get, it bumps up by a percentage point. And then it's capped out at like, I think 20% for whatever above and beyond the X amount in that week. But it goes up instead of down.
Okay.
The more they do.
I love tiers.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Because this would help you pay for staff and overhead and things like that.
Yes.
While this is really going to profit for the CEO.
Yes. This is rainy day fund. So pretty much everything's operating expense-wise is taken care of here. This is rainy day fund. This is let's take over the world.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
'Cause even if you just got 4 people into that.
Right. 4 people here is more than a lot of people down here. like, we could do the math, but it's just, this is where we're trying to take everyone. That's the whole point of this. So my webinars exist for the sole purpose of getting people here eventually.
Yep.
My books exist to get people here eventually.
That's huge.
So when we, another little nugget, when we, like I was saying with people that send stuff out, so if somebody buys this book, okay, the $400 book, I actually have a tripwire version of this book printed, which is essentially the first 3 chapters of it that end on a cliffhanger with a buy it now. Yeah. And that goes in this book, or excuse me, in the package with this book when they get delivered. So it's like, hey, here's an extra present. Don't open it until you read the book through the first book.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, sweet. So it's so intentional to get them to the next thing.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dana has to go catch a flight. We have to jump over to Kommerce Kings behind the scenes. Guys, this has been amazing. Thank you for sharing all that stuff. What we're going to do is, first off, how do they jump on a webinar with you? How can they start being educated with you?
Okay, so I had a book that I launched that taught people how to write and sell books for what they're actually worth, slash anything that they sell for what it's actually worth. And I was going to sell it. I did sell it for $2,500 a copy. And then I had like a come to Jesus moment, and I decided that in order for me to actually change the industry, like the publishing industry, and fix books, because they're going to get destroyed, they already are, I need to give it away for free.
Okay.
So I'm literally giving that book away for free. All you got to pay is $9 for shipping. It costs me $17 to print it, and then it's like $10 to ship it. So I don't make money on it, and it's not going to be open for long. But anyway, if they can go to takeourindustryback.com.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
takeourindustryback.com.
They can grab a copy for free.
Nice, there you go. Takeourindustryback.com.
Please don't share that because I will go bankrupt. I don't have a very good CFO right now.
Dana Derricks, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we're going to jump behind Kommerce Kings behind the scenes. Go to kommercekings.com/VIP and check out what we're about to share behind the scenes. Thanks for being here, man.
You bet,
I appreciate you.